If you are not legally protected in your business, you are leaving money on the table. Hey, I get it. The legal side of business can feel intimidating, but the good news is it doesn't have to be. If you want to build your business on a strong foundation, and if you want to know that your rights are protected when the unexpected happens with a client or a customer, then it's time to get legally protected. This means no more using free contracts that you downloaded off of the internet. This means partnering with a law firm that actually believes in your vision and can help you achieve it. This means legally protecting your brand so that no one can steal your good ideas. There are a lot of ways to grow and scale, but if you want to grow a strong business, it's time to get legally protected. If you're listening and resonating with this, then my signature service, the Legal Upgrade, just might be perfect for you. The Legal Upgrade is a straightforward, structured process to give your business the legal protection that it needs to thrive. Click the link in the show notes and schedule a call with me today. Hello and welcome to the Legal Upgrade Podcast. I'm your host, licensed attorney Christian Hammond. This podcast breaks down the legal side of business to reveal key legal strategies that can help you take your business to the next level. Please note that none of the following is legal, tax, investment, financial, or medical advice. Without further ado, let's get into the show. Should you pay people to leave reviews of your business? Is it okay to program a bot who can watch your videos more and so it looks like you have more views? Should you have your parents, cousins, aunties, uncles, friends leave Google reviews of your business? Today, we're talking about the new FTC rule that recently passed that makes it illegal to have fake reviews. And we're going to talk about what that means exactly and what that means for us as business owners. If you are new, welcome. My name is Christian Hammond. I'm a licensed attorney based in Washington, D.C., but serving clients worldwide. And I specialize in helping business owners get legally protected. And today we are talking about the new FTC law that just passed, and the new rule outlaws fake reviews, fake testimonials, and just really fake indicators of customer satisfaction. And if you are an online shopper like me, then you are saying, amen. Finally, what took you so long? If you're an online shopper like me, then you know that fake reviews are absolutely out of control. I have actually just stopped even bothering to read reviews because, so many of them are fake. People, companies pay people to write positive reviews about them. They pay people to leave negative reviews about their competition. I don't know if you guys knew that, but there's a whole cottage industry now around reviews. And you can literally pay people to leave good reviews for your company, and you can also pay people to leave negative reviews of your competitors. So this kind of activity is what the FTC is taking action against. And again, for me, as someone who shops online, I am like, finally. I don't know about you guys, but my faith in online reviews died about a couple years ago. I bought something online. The reviews were glowing, 5-star reviews everywhere. And I got the product and it was absolute total crap. Just like terrible quality, terrible everything. And, there's times in life where you just kind of let that stuff go. But in this situation, it was actually something that was meant to be a sentimental purchase. And so I went to get a refund. They didn't want to refund me. And in the end, I had to literally threaten legal action in order to get a refund. Crazy. Sidebar, that is one of the perks of being a lawyer. Sometimes it helps you in your personal life. But after that experience, I was done with reviews. Like I said, I don't even bother reading reviews anymore. My approach is to only buy from brands that have reliable return policies. That way, if I don't like it, I can just return it. Like, that is how fed up I have become with reviews. But like I said, the FTC recently passed a new law outlawing fake reviews. And while that, as an online shopper, I'm thrilled, as business owners, we need to understand, what does this rule mean for our businesses? What does this mean for the way that we collect reviews, collect testimonials, for partnerships that we might have with, promotion partnerships that we might have, promotion collaborations we might have? What does it mean for affiliate programs? What does it mean for all of these different methods that we have to display and show customer satisfaction? And so that is what we're going to be talking about today. And a lot of ink is being spilled right now on, what the rule says about what you cannot do. A lot of ink is being spilled on what you can't do under this new FTC rule. And that is important to know as a business owner. It's important for us to know what we can't do. But I think it's a lot more interesting to talk about what we can do. I think it's a lot more interesting to notice, what did the rule leave out? What did the rule leave space for? What did they not cover? What did they choose not to comment on? I think it's actually much more interesting to talk about, what can we do? I think it's much more interesting to talk about, okay, well, how can we display reviews? How can we solicit testimonials? What are the things that are okay, and how can we approach that as business owners? So that's what I want to talk about. But, of course, we will start out by talking about some of the things that this rule says you cannot do. So if you haven't gotten a chance to read an article about this rule, or if you haven't heard about this rule that just passed in August, here are the few of the things that, sorry guys, I'm like, there's just an eyelash trying to attack my eye. Feels like that always happens when I'm recording the podcast. But anyway, eyelash aside, here are some of the things that the new rule says you cannot do. So the big thing with the rule is that businesses can no longer have fake reviews. And fake reviews are reviews that are either written by people who do not exist, so bots, artificial intelligence, reviews that are written by people who do not actually exist, or by fake accounts. This is the kind of thing that the FTC is taking action against. So if the person does not exist, that's a fake rule. If the person didn't actually buy that product, or if that person was not actually a customer of your business, that would also be a fake review. And then lastly, if they were a client, they were a customer, and they do exist, but the review misrepresents their experience with your business, then that would also be an example of a fake review. So the person doesn't exist, or they didn't actually buy that product, or they weren't actually a client or a customer, or they were a client or a customer, but the review's not really accurately representing their real experience. All of that would fall under the header of a fake review. And so basically, the FTC rule says businesses can no longer have fake reviews. Another thing the rule says is that businesses cannot have, I'll call them insiders, but basically you can't have anyone who works for the business. So officers, directors, owners, co-owners, business partners, employees, even the rule actually says agents. And so agents are pretty much anyone who's authorized to act on behalf of the business. For all of these people, the rule says that, and also their immediate family members, you can't have people associated with the business or their immediate family members leaving reviews unless there is, they call it a clear and conspicuous disclosure. And so clear and conspicuous disclosure of who they are and what their relationship is to the company. They have to disclose the fact that they work there. They have to disclose the fact that their daughter or son owns the company. Now, the rule goes into more detail about what a clear and conspicuous disclosure looks like. But just as an example, the rule actually says that if that review is appearing on social media, the disclosure has to be, quote, unavoidable. So the rule actually says that if the person looking at that review would have to click a link or if they would have to hover over an icon in order to see that disclosure, that is not clear or conspicuous under the rule. That would not be enough. So if you're going to have, so when it comes to people associated with the company or even their close family members, they cannot leave reviews unless it's clearly disclosed that they have a relationship to the company. Also, not okay under the rule is that businesses cannot um, have a website that is supposedly neutral, supposedly independent, that is actually controlled by the company and actually has non-neutral, not independent reviews about the company or about its products or services. So you can't have a website that is supposedly neutral, supposedly independent, that is in fact, controlled by your business and isn't, and the reviews and the information that's there is actually biased and not independent. Not okay under the rule. More things that are not okay under the rule is that businesses cannot suppress reviews, and suppression can happen in a couple different ways. Suppression could be by threatening, they call it ungrounded legal action against someone, or making a physical threat, making a public false accusation, trying to intimidate someone, doing any of those things to try to get them to either not leave a review or try to get them to take their review down. Not okay under the new FTC rule. But what's also not okay is a more indirect form of review suppression. What is also not okay is to, for example, only display 5-star reviews on your website when in reality you have a lot of 1-star reviews, 2-star reviews. It is not okay to kind of selectively only show the reviews you like if it would misrepresent the overall nature of the reviews that have been left. So that's another thing that's not okay under the rule. And then the last thing that I want to hit here on the list is that it's also not okay for businesses to have fake indicators of social media influence. And if you have spent any time on social media, then you're familiar with this, where accounts have fake followers, fake views, fake likes, all of that not okay under this FTC rule. And so that's a flavor of some of the things that the FTC has now said these things are no longer okay. And a lot of people are talking about it. And like I said, a lot of ink is being spilled over what you can't do. But like I said, I think it's actually so much more interesting to talk about what you can do. Now, I need to give a disclaimer here that while this is hopefully going to be really interesting and super useful for all of you business owners out there, this is not legal advice for your business, because your business might have individual special circumstances that could make a situation just different for you. You might have circumstances that are special or kind of an outlier or just different. And so this is not legal advice for your company. You're going to have to talk to your own business lawyer for more specifics. And then also the other reason that this is not an exhaustive review is because this is the federal law. But there are also state consumer protection laws. There are also state laws about fair trade, unfair competition. And so just because it's okay at the federal level does not necessarily mean it's okay at the state level. Another reason that you would need to talk to your own business lawyer to get clear on not just what's okay at the federal level, but also what's okay at the state level. But having made that disclaimer, we are going to dig into the rule and talk about some interesting things that, at least it appears right now, would be okay under this new FTC rule. So the first thing I want to talk about is the part of the rule that says that you cannot offer compensation or incentives for someone to leave a rule with a particular point of view. So you can't say, hey, leave us a good review and we'll give you a $10 Starbucks gift card. Or you can't say, hey, leave a really bad review about my competitor and we'll give you a $10 Starbucks gift card. Either of those would be illegal under this new FTC rule. And I've definitely seen businesses do this. And so a lot of businesses are going to be changing how they operate now that this rule has passed. But I think what's interesting is that you can't offer an incentive or compensation for a rule with a particular point of view. But what that means is you could offer an incentive just for them to leave a review in general. The key is that the flavor of the review cannot be the condition for the incentive. So I kind of thought about this because, if you're going to give someone a $10 gift card, I would think that most people would be inclined to say something nice, right? Like if you're going to give them something nice, I think most people would be inclined to say something nice, but maybe Congress thought, not necessarily. Someone could say, thank you for the gift card. And also, I'm going to leave you a really bad review because I did not have a good experience with your company. And so what this rule means is that it would be fine. My reading is it would be fine to say, hey, here's an incentive we're offering to everyone who leaves a review. But what it would mean is that if somebody does leave you that nasty 1-star review, you would still need to follow through on the incentive, right? Because if you didn't follow through, if you said, oh, well, you left me 1 star, so no gift card for you, well, now the incentive was conditional. And so the first thing that I think is interesting is that offering incentives in general is okay under the rule. Offering some kind of compensation in general is okay. You just can't, there can be no, overt or covert attempt to influence the outcome of the review. But I think that's very interesting that they chose not to say, because they could have just said, hey, you can't pay for reviews, but they didn't say that. So I think that's very interesting and probably a relief to those of you out there who have a policy like that in your business. The second thing that I thought was really interesting is that, on one hand, they say if it's someone affiliated with the company, your business partners, co-owners, people who sit on the board of directors, employees, agents of the company, also their close relatives, all of those people cannot leave reviews unless there's disclosure. Well, the flip side of that is that they can leave reviews if there is disclosure, if there is a disclosure of their relationship to the company. So I kind of thought about that, right? Because is a review, say from an employee that has a disclosure on it, is that valuable? Is that something that's worth you taking your time on? And my thought here is that it depends on the context. So if I'm thinking about buying a vacuum cleaner and I see that employees of the company have said, hey, I'm an employee of this company, but I think our vacuum cleaners are great, I'm probably not going to take that too seriously because they're an employee there. Their paycheck depends on selling those vacuum cleaners. That's probably not going to be super persuasive to me. But if I'm looking at a company that I'm thinking of working with, that I'm thinking of collaborating with, and I see that their employees have left reviews saying, hey, I work here, and honestly, this is an awesome business culture. Honestly, I love coming to work here. I feel valued here. This is a really positive, healthy environment. In that context, if I see that employees are actually saying that this company has a great company culture or it's a great place to work, well, then, yeah, that would be really persuasive for me. That would actually be really compelling for me to know that people who work at that company think it's a great place to be. So I think this is really interesting that it is, under this rule, it's okay to have these company insiders leave reviews as long as it's disclosed. And I can think of many situations where having reviews explicitly from people who work for you could actually be a really positive and powerful thing. And I think this is such a great example of, people, new laws passed, and I think people focus on what you can't do, what you can't do, the restrictions. But I think it's so much more interesting to think about what you can do and to think about the ways in which it works in your favor or to your benefit. And I think this is a great example of something that is still okay under this new law and something that could actually really be beneficial and compelling for your company. All right. So moving on to the next one. So part of the rule says that you cannot make unfounded legal threats to try to get someone to take a review down. What would be an unfounded legal threat? It would basically be a threat that has no real basis in the law or that has no realistic evidentiary support. And I've actually seen this. I think one of the most common, just unfounded, groundless nonsense claims people tend to make is defamation. People say, hey, take this down or stop doing this, stop saying this about me, or I'll sue you for defamation. Here is the thing about defamation, folks. It's not defamation if it's true. So if somebody leaves you a 1-star review and they say, this person is a terrible hairstylist, they literally set my hair on fire. And if you did, in fact, set their hair on fire during their hair appointment, that's not defamation because it's true. If it's true, it's not defamation. So if you know something is true and you're like, hey, take this review down because I don't like it, or hey, take this review down or else I'll sue you for defamation, knowing full well that what they've said is actually true, that would be an unfounded legal threat. That is a legal threat that has no basis in law or fact. Now, the flip side of this is that you could demand that someone takes down a review if if you have a legitimate legal reason. So, let's say that you signed a confidentiality agreement with another company. And let's say that that confidentiality agreement says that they will not disclose your pricing. And then let's say at the end of your project together, they leave you a bad review and say, I hated working with this consulting firm, and also they charge $1,100 per hour for their partners, and I think that's ridiculous. Well, you had a confidentiality agreement in which they said they would not disclose your pricing. So that would be a legitimate legal reason to reach out and say, hey, you left a review that discloses our pricing, and that violates our confidentiality agreement. That's a breach of contract. That would be a legitimate legal reason to ask someone to take a review down. So breach of contract, if something in the review maybe breaches an NDA, if something in the review is defamation, if they're saying something about the company that's not true. Let's say that you're a makeup brand, and let's say you're a completely vegan, non-cruelty, non-animal testing makeup brand, and someone leaves a review saying this makeup is the worst, and also they test all of their products on bunnies. Well, if that's absolutely not true and you do not actually test your products on bunnies, then that would be a legitimate claim for defamation. So I think it's interesting that the rule leaves room for you to say, hey, please take this review down for legitimate legal reasons. Again, things like it violates a confidentiality agreement, it violates an NDA, there's something in there that breaches a contract, there's something in there that would be defamation, and many, many other reasons possibly, right? But I think that's really interesting, and I think that's an super important carve out for companies to understand that is still an option for them, that is still a tool that they have in their toolkit for reviews that are problematic for legal reasons. All right. And then the last one I want to cover is that the rule says that you cannot suppress reviews, meaning that you can't have all 5-star reviews on your website when the truth is that it's much more of a mixed bag. When the truth is you've got 1-star reviews, 2-star reviews, 3-star reviews, you can't make it seem like all the reviews are glowing if that's not actually the real situation. But what you can do under the rule is you can have a legitimate policy for a legitimate, say, content policy for excluding certain rules. For example, you could have a legitimate policy against discrimination on the basis of sex, religion, creed, nationality, immigration status, sexuality. You could have a legitimate discrimination policy, and if the reviews contain content that violates that discrimination policy, then those reviews could be taken down. But the key here is that the rule has to be applied equally. So if you have a policy against discrimination, you can't only enforce it against the 1-star reviews that you don't like. Okay, if you have a policy, then if a 1-star review has discriminatory content, then it would be taken down. But even if a 5-star review had discriminatory content, it would also need to be taken down. Under this new FTC rule, it's fine to have those types of policies, but it needs to be equally applied. You can't just apply it against the reviews that you don't like. And so it could be a policy against discrimination. It could be a policy against having content that has pornography or nudity or other kind of obscene content. It could be a policy against, harassment. Maybe you have an employee and she's got a crazy ex-boyfriend who's constantly trying to harass her at work. And one of the ways he tries to harass her is by leaving reviews that actually have nothing to do with your business. It's just his way of trying to get at her. Well, you could have a policy, for example, against harassment, and that could be a legitimate reason to remove those types of harmful reviews that are clearly just harassment and actually have nothing to do with your real company. So I think that that's a really important carve out to realize, a really interesting carve out. And again, this is a tool that stays in your company's toolbox. This is a legitimate tool that the rule leaves room for that you could use to remove reviews that violate your company's content policy. So those are all the things I had for you today. Again, I just think it's important, of course, always for us to know what we can't do. But again, I think it's so much more interesting to think about what we can do. Now, if there was anything I went through today and you were like, ooh, that is definitely something that I do, that is definitely something that my business does, then you are definitely going to want to check in with your business attorney. I believe that the rule goes into force in October. I will drop it in the comments if that's not a correct date, but I believe the rule actually goes into force this October. So if you have policies that you know are not compliant under the rule, and yes, I see that question. Yes, I will save the live. It will be on my profile after this. Thanks for asking. But if you have policies that you know are not compliant, if you've got family members, employees leaving reviews, and that's not been disclosed, if you are paying for social media followers, paying for likes, paying for views, if you have any of these things that we've talked about and you're like, ooh, I need to get rid of that before October, make sure to talk to your business attorney. Business owners do need to know that there is some real teeth behind this new law. The FTC, under this new rule, the FTC can actually fine businesses up to about $52,000 per violation. So that's not per case. That's $52,000 or just about $52,000 per violation. So there are some real teeth behind this law. There are some real financial penalties to this law. So if you need to get your house in order, contact your business attorney and hopefully get that thing straightened out by October. And of course, if you are looking to partner with a modern law firm who believes in your business and specializes in legal protection for businesses, feel free to reach out, drop me a line, click the link in my bio, schedule a time for us to chat. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in today, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. The Legal Upgrade Podcast is a Bevel Law production. For more information about the Legal Upgrade, you can follow on Instagram at Bevel Law or find even more information on the website bevellaw.com. If you enjoyed the episode, please remember to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. See you next time on the Legal Upgrade Podcast.